So we've got Adam Schiff now, who is calling for a new select committee to oversee the coronavirus response. Adam Schiff, probably not the right guy to be doing it, considering a few days ago he tweeted that whether it's military aid or ventilators, a foreign ally or an American governor, I've said it before and I'll say it again, you cannot count on Donald Trump to do what's right for this country. You can count on him to do what's right for Donald Trump. That is an outlier position from leaders across the country right now. I don't hear that from Andrew Cuomo. I don't hear that from Democrat governors for the most part.
Governor Murphy? No.
No, they are saying that the federal government is doing everything they can. And guess who's directing the federal government? Adam Schiff, Donald Trump. So if they had such concern, you would know about it as a member of Congress. The Democrat governors would be talking about it, and they're not.
Let me tell you something. There's one person that knows what this is better than anybody.
Oh, yeah, this is a tip to take him down.
And this is, and that person would be me, who has represented the president through the Bob Mueller nonsense, the Russia collusion / obstruction / nothing, through the Ukrainian phone call that's going to be the end of the constitutional republic, which ends up in an impeachment, which ends up with not one Republican voting for impeachment in the House and a complete acquittal in the United States Senate with a half of a vote of one Republican on one count in the Senate. So let's be clear what this is. To announce it before we have even gotten into the meat of this, the apex of this disease, this virus, tells you what it is. And then let's just face it. Everything they've tried to do to take down the president of the United States has failed. So, of course, they're going to try this again.
Yeah, I mean, I had hoped they wouldn't, Jay, but now, I mean, there's no other explanation for it. And look, it does not come without a cost. I mean, I want to really stress this. I've done this type of casework inside these congressional offices, and by Congressman Schiff and Speaker Pelosi choosing to dedicate their time to political attacks, they are not spending it on the types of calls that we are receiving on this broadcast, calls where they're going to call their office and say, I'm someone who is on Social Security, gets a check. What do I need to do to get this stimulus check? Jay and Jordan, if Congressman Schiff and Speaker Pelosi were spending their time instead of attacking the president politically and instead helping their constituents with these questions, guess what would happen? They would play the role that they were intended to play to make sure their constituents got the help as fast as possible. So this is not a political attack without a cost. And the people who are paying that cost are the people that Adam Schiff and Speaker Pelosi are supposed to be representing. They're the ones that either voted for them or didn't, but they reside in their districts, and they're the ones paying the price.
So if you want to do an after-action analysis when this is all over and figure out where there were hiccups and logistics and all that, fine. But to do this before we even reach the apex of it as a political threat, which is what it is, and I'm going to underscore what Than said, and that is, you know what would have been better? If they would have taken, maybe Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi could take an hour out of their day to do what we're doing, go on social media or radio broadcasts, I'm sure they'd be given airtime, and answer questions for people, because people have questions.
About the legislation they passed.
But no, they would rather they don't want to focus on infrastructure. They hate the idea that this president's about to put together an infrastructure bill where the actual shovel-ready jobs will be ready.
Yep.
They hate it.
Yep.
They wanted it when it was Obama. He did it, got the money, ends up giving the money to something else. There was never a shovel-ready job. He jokingly said, well, I guess those shovel-ready jobs weren't so shovel-ready. We'll find that clip in the next couple of days. I'm sure we'll be using it.
Well, you gave it away to those green companies that ended up going bankrupt.
So, what was it?
It was all talking about scams, folks, and money going to. I mean, it's just, again, it's the pot calling the kettle black when it comes to Democrats and in all of these moves. They are the corrupt. They are, in a sense, it's in a sense evil. I mean, at a time when you are trying to come together as a country that was pretty divided, let's be honest, to combat a virus which doesn't care what side of the aisle you're on or if you're on the side of an aisle or not, and yet they try to insert this back in, it's evil.
Folks, the ACLJ is doing work all across the country on all the issues that you care about, all across the world on the issues you care about. And we're able to broadcast it to you because of your support. We're able to do the work in our country because of your support. We're able to do the work internationally because of your financial support. And this is a great time to make a financial contribution to the ACLJ because it's a matching challenge month. What does that mean? We have a group of donors ready to match every donation that comes into the ACLJ right now at aclj.org. You're literally doubling the impact of your donation. Your $25 donation, that's what you're charged on your credit card, but that's like $50 for us to ACLJ. No amount too small, no amount too big. It all makes a huge impact. Go to aclj.org, be part of our matching challenge, and donate today.
It's a critical time for our nation and our world. With so many challenges facing our country, the work of the American Center for Law and Justice has never been more important. And during this time of uncertainty, there's no better way to support the ACLJ than through online giving. ACLJ Chief Counsel Jay Sekulow.
We truly appreciate your financial support. Without it, it would be impossible to do our work here and around the globe. And the best way to support our work is to make your financial gifts online at aclj.org.
Online giving, simple and secure. And by making an online gift, your support goes to work immediately, enabling the ACLJ to defend human life, to stand up for our good friend Israel, to work to uncover the corrupt deep state in Washington, and so much more. Make a difference today. Support the work of the ACLJ online at aclj.org. Every dollar makes a difference. Give today online at aclj.org. Thanks to your support of the ACLJ, we have had many victories.
The IRS now formally apologizing to Tea Party groups.
The IRS did the right thing by resolving the case with an injunction that mandated a complete change of the IRS nonprofit tax-exempt work as it relates to issue advocacy organization.
If any group feels like they're being targeted, they can go to federal court and bring our case. That's a victory.
It's one of the most significant wins in the ACLJ's history, to take on the IRS and win.
For more than 27 years, the ACLJ has been fighting for freedom and liberty in the United States and around the globe.
These are young people in their 20s and 30s that are doing this. They're fighting for life at a whole new level to beat back the abortion juggernaut. We've got a whole group of young lawyers that are defending them.
Those of us that believe in life know that we're on the right side of history. We understand full well children are children, and they're precious in God's sight, and they're precious in our nation's sight, and they're precious to parents.
But I actually think we're winning this. This is one of the social issues we're winning.
The release of Andrew Brunson. He is the American evangelical from North Carolina, held in Turkey for more than 2 years.
They're rushing us to the airport, and there was an Air Force plane that came from Germany that had been on standby. We're flying, and they finally left Turkish airspace. It's like, okay, now we're really out of Turkey and free again.
We're grateful to ACLJ who put it out to these people, they were getting all this out.
All of the people who prayed for us through ACLJ and through your contacts, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and actually I'm astounded.
We need your help as we continue this work here in the United States and around the world. Join the matching challenge today, and your tax-deductible donation will be doubled.
Right to the phones. We're going to go in order of how long people have been holding on. Let's go to Kevin in Indianapolis on line 3. Kevin, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live. You're on the air.
Hey, Kevin.
Yes, thank you all so much for what you do.
Sure.
My question is, I work for a big trucking corporation,
Yes.
and I know there's HIPAA laws.
Yes.
But we just had a person that was infected with the COVID.
Yep.
And they won't tell us, and they say because it's HIPAA. But yet, I feel like our rights are being violated.
Well, the hospital...
I don't know if I've come,
Yeah, so the hospitals are usually will not give individual information out. But usually an employer, they try to keep it... They may not give the person's name, but they can say this was the route this person took, because they always are trying to find... And one of the keys on this is trying to find who the contact points are, where you actually contacted people.
So you think they'd actually be telling you more information?
Yeah, I'm really surprised on that, Kevin. And I'd go back and say, look, I'm not asking for the individual's name, but I'd like to know where it was in the office or where it was in the route or where it was logistically to make sure I haven't come in contact with them.
That's right. I mean, that would be the right thing for the company to be doing as well, because you would need to know. You don't have to necessarily know the person's name. You need to know, is it someone you potentially came into contact with, and who else then came into contact with them. So back to the phones we go.
And we've got an opposing view, and I want to take it.
Yeah, Patrice in Maryland,
I'm glad
online
she called.
forward. Patrice, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hi, Patrice. Welcome to the broadcast,
Yes.
and you're on the air.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
And I think Pelosi and Schiff are within their right to have this committee now. Trump needs to be held accountable for all the people that are dying. He knew this was coming. He keeps getting on TV with these shows, calling them task force updates, but they're not. People are dying.
Have you watched, Patrice? Let me ask a couple of questions. Have you watched the daily briefings?
As much as I can take of them with his lies. I'm a nurse. I'm a nurse.
So,
I work in the medical profession.
I appreciate that. I'm just asking the question, Patrice. Just hold on. Calm down. I just want to ask you a question. Because if you disagree with what the president's doing, do you disagree with Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci?
I think that they are doing their job as well as they can because they're being intimidated by the bully president.
The bully president who's put in place 2 hospital ships to New York, one to California, one to New York, who's put together you have to say, you're in the medical business, which I appreciate, the medical field. I think this is the problem. It's not a question of whether they have the right to form a bipartisan committee to look at something. It's the timing of it. And you know what? All this would have, should have, could have. Remember this, Patrice, and I know this from personal experience. I do appreciate you calling. I know this from personal experience. Making this partisan is not going to save one life today.
The thing is, if you hate Donald Trump to that extent, you're bad American at this point because you should be praying and hoping that your president is doing the right thing and that is putting together the right team. That's the truth.
Can I ask this question of these people? Because I understand. Look, I've lived in this world for a long time. Yeah. Are there people hoping this fails? That what the president's doing? I want to lay out a very serious point. I want to look right in the camera and do this. Are there people out there right now hoping that the initiatives that this president, that you may disagree with on everything, you're not hoping he fails, are you? You're not hoping that the plans they put in place today, let's not talk about 3 months ago. 3 months ago, I was on the floor, 2.5 months ago, I was on the floor of the United States Senate dealing with Democratic nonsense. So let's put all of that aside. But are some of you out there listening to this broadcast, watching on our media platforms, hoping that this president fails? I asked Patrice, did you listen to it? Not really.
No.
They said, well, I tried to, but I can take as much as I can take.
Doesn't make sense because they're very...
So then I asked this question, seriously, because the answer is yes. There are people that hope that this fails and what? More people die? I hope nobody does think that.
I do too, Jay, but you know what? The honest truth is the answer is yes. And I would just say to Patrice and anyone else listening, there's a question you need to be asking instead, and it is, what can I do to save lives? Because we are in the middle of this right now, and the actions that each one of us take are going to have an impact on whether or not lives are saved. Now, look, Speaker Pelosi and Chairman Schiff, Jay, they have a disproportionate responsibility in this to take actions that will save lives instead of score political points. But look, I should be asking this question as well. Patrice should be asking this question as well. What actions can I take instead of trying to score political points? What actions can Patrice take to save lives? It's the question that the president is asking. It's the question that the doctors are asking. It should be the question that the politicians are asking. And respectfully, it should be the question that Patrice is asking as well.
This is who I blame for this virus taking its hold the way it has in the country. Democrats, specifically Adam Schiff, and and Nancy Pelosi okayed it. They knew at the same time this was happening. They were being briefed on it, on COVID-19. They moved forward with impeachment articles they knew would not lead. There was no way possible, if you even got all the witnesses they wanted, it would never lead to 67 U.S. senators voting to remove the president. But they distracted the entire Senate. And then when the president shut down travel to China, they called him xenophobic and a racist. And then when he shut down travel to Europe, Nancy Pelosi said it was overreacting. So thank God Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff aren't running the response to COVID-19.
That's 100% correct. Let's try to grab another call.
All right, back to the phones we go. Let's go to Steve in Ohio. Steve, you're absolutely right. Welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, you know what? You just took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to tell you, I was going to say that I remember, I think it was January 31st or around that time, that President Trump wanted to issue the travel ban. And then I just saw yesterday somebody on one of the online things I look at actually showed the tweet that Pelosi put, saying that he was overreacting, and that we have to get an act of Congress to prevent him from doing these travel bans. I mean, as early as January 31st, he wanted to put on the travel bans. And now it's all on him now. Oh, he didn't do enough and all this stuff. I wish they would publicize this so people could see how backwards this thing is.
Well, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm handling these cases for the president. The Supreme Court is supposed to argue on Monday, and one of the cases is a local DA in New York issues a subpoena to the president of the United States for personal records. A local county DA to the president of the United States. So what the DA wants me to do is to get on the phone and call the scheduler for the president and say, hey, I know the president's really busy handling a pandemic right now, but could I get an hour and a half of his time this afternoon so I can go over a local county district attorney's subpoena to the president of the United States? Well, the founders were really smart in saying, no, federalism, that's not the way it works. But this is what's going on. So now they just upped it with this, review situation or this oversight committee. But they couldn't wait till it was over. You can't even let us get through this. Besides bringing up the political nonsense, let the country get through this. But I hate to say this. There are people that are hoping that this doesn't work.
Folks, the ACLJ is doing work all across the country on all the issues that you care about, all across the world on the issues you care about. And we're able to broadcast it to you because of your support. We're able to do the work in our country because of your support. We're able to do the work internationally because of your financial support. And this is a great time to make a financial contribution to the ACLJ because it's a matching challenge month. What does that mean? We have a group of donors ready to match every donation that comes into the ACLJ right now at aclj.org. You're literally doubling the impact of your donation. Your $25 donation, that's what you're charged on your credit card, but that's like $50 for us to ACLJ. No amount too small, no amount too big. It all makes a huge impact. Go to aclj.org, be part of our matching challenge, and donate today.
It's a critical time for our nation and our world. With so many challenges facing our country, the work of the American Center for Law and Justice has never been more important. And during this time of uncertainty, there's no better way to support the ACLJ than through online giving. ACLJ Chief Counsel Jay Sekulow.
We truly appreciate your financial support. Without it, it would be impossible to do our work here and around the globe. And the best way to support our work is to make your financial gifts online at aclj.org.
Online giving, simple and secure. And by making an online gift, your support goes to work immediately, enabling the ACLJ to defend human life, to stand up for our good friend Israel, to work to uncover the corrupt deep state in Washington, and so much more. Make a difference today. Support the work of the ACLJ online at aclj.org. Every dollar makes a difference. Give today online at aclj.org.
All right, so we're going to mix in calls about the politics of this with Adam Schiff, but you still got a lot of calls coming in with people asking about the COVID-19 stimulus. Let's go to Gary in New Jersey online too. Gary, thanks for holding on. You're on the air.
Hi, guys. You're terrific. You're an American icon. Question. I'm a small business owner in New Jersey, more like the mom and pop range.
Sure.
And, we have business policies. And in the policies, there's usually a coverage for income loss interruption.
Right.
Called the insurance company, and they said because the virus doesn't cause a physical damage, to the business, that there's no coverage.
Yeah.
So,
Gary, what kind of business are you in?
I have a floor covering business.
Okay. So they may, because viruses are sometimes exempt from what's called B&I coverage, business interruption coverage. But just yesterday, I was on the phone with a friend of mine who's a lawyer, and lawyer that handles a lot of insurance stuff, and he would tell you, go back and tell them they're wrong and actually submit the claim. At the same time, let me encourage you to go to your bank or contact your bank. You'll be able to do this online. The SBA loans are made for exactly your situation.
Yep. Linda's calling from California on line 1. Linda, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hey, Linda.
Hi. Hello. Thank you so much for your service.
Sure.
I love you guys' show.
Thanks.
Anyway, I have a question. We are having our church for like 4 years, but we are a small church right now. And then we are under Foursquare Church.
Yeah, sure. In Foursquare. Right.
Yeah, I told the pastor that we might be qualified for a loan for at least for the rent for this time. But
you do qualify. So, I mean, I don't know your individual situation, but let me give you the general rule. We were, and Than will talk about this, we were really specific on this. A friend of mine who's a pastor and is on our board at the ACLJ, Bishop Harold Ray, who's a trained Notre Dame lawyer, has been a friend of mine for 35 years. He raised this issue early on with me and said, it would be really important if in these workouts they would include churches, nonprofits. And in fact, Than, they have.
They sure did. Yeah, absolutely eligible to qualify. And I would just go even a step further. There is a bipartisan effort in the House. It's led by Steve Scalise and James Clyburn at a leadership level to make sure, Jay, that not only do the 501c3 churches who filed for their exemption letter be eligible for this, but also those who did not even file the form, which is Form 1023, said that the statute is intended to cover all of them. So really, regardless of which situation this church is in, Jay, they should be eligible. They should take a look. That application is up as we speak. And like you said, it can be filed tomorrow, get the process going.
Yeah, and it's going to be very quick.
So, Linda, tell your pastor, jump on it.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Doesn't matter if you're a small church, your churches qualify.
Yep.
So if that rent's $500 or $800 or $1,000, whatever it is, you'll get some help.
Cindy's calling from Illinois on line 3. Cindy, welcome to Jay Sekulow Live.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Can you hear me okay?
We hear you great.
Okay. The lady that called in a while ago that was so down on Trump,
yep.
It just made me realize why people are so down on him. They were either not informed or misinformed. That man talked about the coronavirus on February 5th, the day after his impeachment. He told about that then, and he's been on it ever since.
Let me play that for everybody. People forget about this. And by the way, he mentioned it in an interview during the Super Bowl, too. Here's the State of the Union.
Protecting Americans' health also means fighting infectious diseases. We are coordinating with the Chinese government and working closely together on the coronavirus outbreak in China. My administration will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat.
Okay, so that was February 4th. February 5th, the next day, I'm back in the United States Senate doing the closing arguments in defending the president from an impeachment. And of course, we get an acquittal. So we know what this is when they start doing this. This is their same playbook over. They are just like they did in their impeachment trial, which if you looked at what Adam Schiff's team did, the managers, every 45 minutes it was a repeat. It was wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. And that's exactly what they're doing now. They're going back to that playbook. They're going to try to make it, Jordan, sound a little bit more bipartisan.
Yeah, but I mean, again, we've got a lot of calls on this. Michelle in Ohio, line 6.
Definitely this is so propagandized that they're telling everything like you guys was asking earlier. Definitely they're giving the wrong information about it. And on a side note, I'm not so happy about what's happening on Ohio voting, as that is my state. But my question is, at what point is action to be taken against those that are impeding and harassing the President of the United States? And the part B of that is, and if so, what regrets does the American people have that are not in these districts of the people who are the problem and not the solution?
Well, the answer to all of this under our constitutional design, Than, of course, is elections. And if you change the House, guess what? You change the House, you know what happens? You don't have this. That's what it is. You don't have this. So House elections are very important. So that's one thing. Number two, I think if you're a Republican, Democrat, angry at the president, not angry at the president, it doesn't matter. We got to get through a really rough, the president keeps saying it, so does Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx. We've got a really rough 2, 3, 4 weeks here. And, you know, we got to stick together as Americans. We've been through these kind of things, but this is a wave of a war where you know you're being attacked. It reminds me, in a sense, almost like a Pearl Harbor, where there were kind of inklings something might be out there, but nothing for sure, and then it comes in a wave, and then it comes in another wave. And then, you know, fortunately, they didn't do the next wave. The Japanese thought about doing that. The imperial government of Japan talked about doing that, and they decided no. But then remember that famous Japanese military general who said, "We've awoken a sleeping giant," in talking about the United States. That's how we need to be progressing. Awake the sleeping giant, which means do what we're supposed to do. Social distancing, being smart, not exposing people, being cautious. I know being, you know, kind of cooped up in your house is tough, but you can take a walk. Just do it, if it's not with your immediate family, at a distance. That's how you have to do it.
Folks, the ACLJ is doing work all across the country on all the issues that you care about, all across the world on the issues you care about. And we're able to broadcast it to you because of your support. We're able to do the work in our country because of your support. We're able to do the work internationally because of your financial support. And this is a great time to make a financial contribution to the ACLJ because it's a matching challenge month. What does that mean? We have a group of donors ready to match every donation that comes into the ACLJ right now at aclj.org. You're literally doubling the impact of your donation. Your $25 donation, that's what you're charged on your credit card, but that's like $50 for us to ACLJ. No amount too small, no amount too big. It all makes a huge impact. Go to aclj.org, be part of our matching challenge, and donate today.
It's a critical time for our nation and our world. With so many challenges facing our country, the work of the American Center for Law and Justice has never been more important. And during this time of uncertainty, there's no better way to support the ACLJ than through online giving. ACLJ Chief Counsel Jay Sekulow.
We truly appreciate your financial support. Without it, it would be impossible to do our work here and around the globe. And the best way to support our work is to make your financial gifts online at aclj.org.
Online giving, simple and secure. And by making an online gift, your support goes to work immediately, enabling the ACLJ to defend human life, to stand up for our good friend Israel, to work to uncover the corrupt deep state in Washington, and so much more. Make a difference today. Support the work of the ACLJ online at aclj.org. Every dollar makes a difference. Give today online at aclj.org.